very interesting to see that is the case. They'd have to get literally all the items necessary to complete all the light roll dungeons and all the keys too. But it is look like we are getting started here. Ridley going to start at the sanctuary, going to get a full heart. Troupster actually didn't pick up that item when he was there, and we also have a red rupee in Link's house.
Oh, it looks like Troupster's going right for the Houlihan setup, which is a thing that you can do in order to get about 225 rupees right away. The setup is over here on the right-hand side, where he's heading. He's going to fall into the water a bit, and then he's going to fall into the pit, which will actually send him to the Houlihan room rather than to the location that normally is the pit leads to.
Yeah, that's
and we also have another one on Walther. He's also setting it up.
Crossproduct is checking the Uncle Cave, gets a red rupee from the Uncle, and we're getting the other item shortly. RidleyDragon farming the bush crab, which is actually red rupees, a very good drop from that particular enemy.
Yeah, that's really good. There's a couple of bush crabs over here by Lost Woods, and there's also one down by the dam if they happen to go down there. So they should have no problem having enough rupees for Zora later on.
There's also a red rupee on the lumberjack tree, but I don't really think our runners are going to be going for that one.
That doesn't necessarily mean that Aga is not required. We could have a situation where you need to kill Agnem for the pyramid item or something like that. So we'll have to see what the seed has in store for them.
That's very, very true.
So with all of our runners taking different routes now, I do want to point out that it can be hard to watch 4 different races at once. We might miss things, so chat, if we happen to miss anything, feel free to give a call out. We do have a couple of trackers to keep things situated for us, but, we might miss something.
That's very true. These quad races can be really hard to follow at times. We did get the book of Medora, inside the Thieves Hideout in the Lost Woods, so that's nice. And we also get a small key to Turtle Rock.
Getting those Turtle Rock small keys early. There's 4 of them, so, you're going to find one laying around here and there.
That's true, and we also have a bottle on the race game as well. That's going to be really nice for Walther, because I think he's the only one that's taken the south route to Kakariko. And we also got a head check as well.
I missed what it said. I think it's a disappointment, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it was just a little piece of love. So, yeah, kind of broke the chat's hearts in just 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the seed.
Chat, if you want anything to hope for, to make up for the pedestal being dead, you want to hope for Fat Fairy holding the hammer. That's the troll that you want to see.
Yeah, really.
Alright, so this is fairly standard. Our runners are going to head over to Kakariko Village. There's a ton of items that you can easily get over here. And plus, you can buy bombs if you need to. And with this amount of rupees, why not buy bombs?
Yeah, the seed has been very, very generous with rupees so far. So honestly, yeah, buying bombs, good idea. A lot of places in the light world where you need them, so may as well get stocked up as soon as possible.
I think the big question will be, what will our runners decide to do after they're done here? South Shore is usually a good option. Again, a lot of items. You can use bombs in order to kill the mini Moldorms in the mini Moldorm cave. However, we might see some runners opt to go to Escape instead. Or even Eastern, maybe.
That's true, a lot of options. In the greenhouse, we have a small key to Tower of Hera and a blue goo bottle as well. So not bad for all the runners that chose to go north, too. They can still pick up the bottle there. And there's also the Bombos medallion from the bottle vendor as well.
2 safety bottles right away in town. It's actually really nice. And we also had a couple of hearts already. So this is a healthy seed.
Yeah, that is very, very nice that they're getting that. Even the sick kid's gonna contribute his whole heart to the cause as well.
So these are nice things to have. However, this is not any progression yet. We got a couple of keys, but nothing that our runners can immediately access yet. So there again, it's just the standard stuff that is open to them from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, we did get a big key to the desert palace inside the well, and with the book not too far out of the logic, that will
Oh,
open up
yeah.
an extra chest in desert when we get there.
So we'll have to see if anyone decides to do the early desert, which could be the play.
Yeah, early desert's great because it also puts that Agina's cave into close proximity as well, and that's one location runners do not like visiting unless they can combine it with desert.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just one thing. It takes like a minute to go over there. Whereas if they can go in a desert, that's another 2 items. And if they can get to that big chest, which they can now, that's a 3rd item in desert. So that's 4 items over at the desert area, pretty much making it worth your time.
Yeah, and with how early we got that, the game could be telling our runners to go to desert just because of that, so yeah.
Wow, 6 hearts. 6 heart Kakariko. But no way to deal damage yet except for those bombs.
Yeah, that is a bit of the inverse of what you want to see. Like, there's always those seeds you get like weapons, but then no hearts. Now you have a seed where you get hearts, but then you just can't really attack anything either. It's just that's randomizer for you.
Alright, our runners are starting to finish up their Kakariko trek. Give it about another minute, and then we'll start to see something new.
That's right. So in the meantime, while we are kind of treading through old ground, you may have been seeing all these maps and compasses pop up. They actually have been given a new feature in Keysanity, where whenever you collect a map for a dungeon, you can actually check and see whether or not that dungeon is a pendant dungeon or a crystal dungeon. It will not show on the map until you have the dungeon map for that item. So kind of gave the map a bit of a new feature in Keysanity mode. Just to...
Quick interruption. Cross.
Go ahead.
I like my whiskey neat. Some prefer it Octorox. He likes to talk to the person in the inn who we've dubbed Cross Product because Cross wrote most of those puns. So of course he's going to show them off.
Of course, that makes sense. So yeah, definitely worth the interruption there for sure. And yeah, that was what the maps do. And as far as the compasses, whenever you're in a dungeon, they just give you a quick tally of what items you've collected inside that dungeon. So if you're not aware of how many items you've gotten in the dungeon yet, the compass will tell you that information. So the developers decided to just give some extra features to those seemingly useless dungeon items in the normal randomizer.
Definitely gives it a use when you find it outside of a dungeon. Looks like Walther is down at the dam, so he's the first one to hit something new. Only a piece of heart outside, though. We'll see if there's anything in the chest here, and then we'll see if he goes to desert or mini Moldor. Oh, a sword!
Ooh,
Nice.
That's really nice. Yeah, very nice, especially for mini Moldor, which could be the next play. Yeah, he is going to go over there now that he has the sword. He's probably thinking about going to Agina's cave just because he didn't have a weapon, but now that he does, yeah, it makes sense to go over here.
We got Cross and Ridley also down by the dam, picking up their sword. Gonna take a look at that piece of heart in a moment.
And then they could actually do in Mini Moldorm Cave, assuming they have the magic, because they could just also use the Bombos Medallion too, if they're not super confident in getting through that room fast.
Wow, nothing at the Mini Moldorm Cave, though.
Yeah, not really. Looking like that desert play could have been the correct play, and yeah, it looks like Walther is going back in that direction.
So he's opting to go to desert instead of Ice Rock Cave. Usually you'll go to Ice Rock Cave while you're down here at Mini Moldorm, because this is the closest you'll get until you find Flute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that Cave of Disappointment again. Only item that could be somewhat useful is that Ganon's Tower small key, but even then you can get all the keys you need in Ganon's Tower if you are going there in go mode.
Well, don't jinx it yet. They might not be going there in go mode.
That's very true. That big key end up being in there, or there might be progression in Ganon's Tower that will lead there.
All right, so we have Cross and Ridley heading over to Ice Rock Cave. Walther just found a red rupee over at Aegina, so nothing there, but he's going to head into Desert now for, what, 3 more items?
Yep.
Total.
Yeah, I believe there's that button chest, the big chest, and the desert ledge. So, yep, 3 items that this could potentially be in Walter's future here.
Oh, Piece of Heart, Ice Rock Cave. But we have a glove on the desert ledge, totally required. Nice play from Walther.
And the funny thing is, if he happens to find a light source inside Desert, he could potentially just finish Desert right here while he's here.
Yeah, with that glove. One of the required items, you need the glove, you need a fire source. Oh, I missed that they picked up the Desert Small Key as well, so that's 2 more items.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's almost a full clear.
Our tracker saw it. I didn't see it.
Yeah, that's the thing with Kakariko's checks, especially in these quad races. You're bound to miss something early on.
So we're getting a fake flipper from Crossproduct. This is a sequence break. He doesn't currently have flippers, but he's gonna go have a talk with the hobo and get the item.
Quick interruption. Both glove upgrades are actually in the desert area. We just found the power glove inside the big key chest in desert.
So funny enough, the Titan's mitts that Walther will be picking up soon enough, that actually doesn't unlock anything just yet until they find Moon Pearl. One of our required items to get to the Dark World, but they don't have Moon Pearl yet. And we just got some magic powder in the button chest.
Yeah, this desert play is really, really paying off right now. And 300 rupees is nice, but by the point we get the boots, that may not be required, so that item is essentially taken care of right now.
Desert was absolutely... Oh, we have a big key to Thieves, which is nice to have early enough.
Yeah, puts that dungeon in logic once they get to the Dark World.
So our runners are pretty much getting everything they can in Desert, aside from whatever's on Lamo.
Yep, because no light source will be found here. Walter will get the Titan's Myth, but that's going to be it. Looks like Cross is the only one not going to Desert. He's actually going to Hyrule Castle. Let's see how this pays off for him. First, the map to Ice Palace.
Yeah, if he does happen to find a fire source, this could end up working in his favor. Otherwise, it will put Cross behind the other runners.
Mm-hmm.
We see Walther probably going to the back of Escape right away, where you can get 3 quick items.
I think he actually forgot that he had the mitts right there because he didn't pick up the bigger stone.
You don't usually get it like 15 minutes in, so
That's
I don't blame him.
True. Yeah, definitely.
Ooh. That was a rod, but I think that was Ice Rod.
I believe that was Ice Rod, yes.
That's the wrong rod.
Now, if it shot the blue fire that was in Ocarina of Time, then that would be useful, but not really right now for this scene. Oh, and in the back half of Escape, we did get the Eastern Palace big key, so that's going to put 1 more chest over here in Eastern as well.
Nice to get pretty early as well, so when you do happen to go to Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of progression, the gloves only currently unlock the back of Escape.
Yeah.
You could sequence break up to Death Mountain for 2 more items, but again, it's a sequence break, which means it's not... The randomizer doesn't expect you to be able to do that yet. Looks like we have a green pendant in Skull Woods.
Okay, interesting.
And a big key of Ice Palace. Man, this seed right now is giving our runners a ton of keys, but not much in the term of items.
Yeah, not really. Like you said before, the mitts are definitely nice. We need that for Dark World access, but until we get that pearl, our runners are not going to be thinking about that.
All right, so it looks like Walter's heading into Eastern. He's going to continue that look. He'll be able to get 4 items here, plus 1 more if he decides to do the dark room. 3 items. Wait, what?
No, five's right. Five's right.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I thought so.
And I imagine that. I mean, especially with this health, I can imagine Walther going through the dark room to get that. It's not a really hard dark room to get through.
So unfortunately we saw Moon Pearl. I saw
Moon Pearl. Yep.
Eastern was the play after getting mitts, or even before.
That's true. You could have honestly gone either or, as long as you hit both of them.
Now, the important part is that Eastern big key. If there's something in that big chest, then, yeah, going to Desert first would pay off. So we'll have to see what happens there.
If there is, it'll really pay off for Walther and Troupster. Ridley did not pick up the Eastern big key, unfortunately, so he's not going to be able to get that chest. And Cross is here without even going to Desert, so, yeah. That is kind of the difference between the 2 races right now.
So we have our Moon Pearl, we have our Titan Smiths. That means our runners have access to 1 portal in the normal overworld section, which is over by Village of Outcasts. From there, they can only get about half of the Dark World, since they have no way of getting to the right-hand side where Pod is just yet. They'll either need flippers or hammer to get over there.
That's right, and this could be that, could be anyway, the hammer and pyramid fairy scenario you talked about. Very small chance.
The dream.
Could happen.
That's what we're hoping for. The new ped should be hammer a fat fairy.
Okay, so the big chest did not have any sort of progression. It was just a heart container, so thankfully Cross and Ridley will not be missing out, but I think Ridley just decided not to go into Eastern. He just
Oh no.
hit the Sashrala.
So with Ridley, it looks like he's heading up to the front of Escape now. Without that Moon Pearl, I mean, he's going to have to backtrack back to Eastern eventually. Moon Pearl is absolutely required to make any progress in this game.
Yes, definitely. Meanwhile, Walther did make it through the dark room in relatively good condition, and he's going to see what's inside this big key chest right here. And it is just a red rupee, so the Moon Pearl is all they really needed from Eastern Palace.
Our runners didn't know that. They could have left right after Moon Pearl, but hey,
Yeah.
you're going to check everything else while you're here.
Yeah, at this point, they don't know what Eastern Palace is going to be. They don't know if it's going to be a pendant or crystal yet. They don't have the bow to complete it, so may not be able to get everything, but there could always be progression there, and that's why they decided to go all the way through it.
Now, it looks like Walther's making his way over to Village of Outcasts for the portal there. I do want to point out that in addition to going to Dark World, Zora is a possibility for an item, since you need gloves or flippers, but they have the gloves. So gloves, in order to access them, just like in the regular game, where Zora happens to sell flippers. We could have that kind of situation. So just something to keep in mind. That's another location our runners could eventually take a look at.
Yeah, that's very true. But for now, it seems like Walther just wants to kind of follow the logic for a bit. They've been giving him direct Dark World access, so he wants to see what he can find on this side of the World of Hyrule. Just 50 rupees from the chess game.
You get your money back. It's not too bad.
And they do have the big key, or, well, Walther has the big key anyway to Thieves Town, so he could finish this. Not full clear, but he could finish this if he wants to. Does get the Tower of Hera big key in here.
So they have all the keys for Hera, they just have no way of getting there just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to point something in relation to the logic when it comes to Thieves Town here. Thieves Town has a small key in addition to a big key. Now, our runners have, well, some of our runners have the big key to Thieves. According to the logic, you cannot beat Thieves unless you also get a small key. So the randomizer expects you to essentially use the small keys in the worst possible way, because they just don't know what our runners are going to do. So that means they have to get all of the small keys for the dungeon for it to be completable in this particular dungeon.
Yeah. All the dungeons have little instances like that in some way where they have to be kind of a little careful with how they use their keys, but thankfully they should be able to at least find it before too long, I imagine.
All right, so Walther is going to continue. We have Ridley dropping down to the back of Escape. Troupster is making his way up to Skull Woods, so we'll see if there's anything there. And of course, Cross is finally going to Desert, where he'll be satisfied to get the gloves and maybe feeling a little behind. Anytime you get into a situation where the last possible place you're checking has your progression, you might feel a little behind the other runners, because you're like, did someone else make this play earlier?
Yeah, that's definitely something that goes through all racers' minds when they do these races.
So Troupster just picked up the flippers in this front part of Skull Woods here. And as I mentioned, flippers is one of the way to get over to the pod area. Cross is a little behind, but once he's done picking up his gloves, he'll be able to immediately go right over to Village of Outcasts. So I'd put him at about a couple minutes behind at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, you can see the difference just like a coin flip decision can make in Keysanity. Like, Troupster went to a different dungeon than what Walther did, and he's definitely found a little more progression right now, I'd say. So just a lot of situations will come down to, okay, should I go over here or should I go over here? And it can benefit or it could make you lose a little time. You just don't know how it's going to pan out until you get closer to the end of the Keysanity seed.
And Keysanity certainly opens up a lot faster. There's a lot of different choices our runners can make.
It does open up a lot faster, but there are also situations where the seed can get completely bottlenecked around one item or one key as well. So I find it very interesting in that regard, just because of all the different scenarios that can come out from this game mode.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of Worth, Hammer next to the Maiden in Thieves. So that is awesome, Worth. But hey, that fairy Hammer dream is dead.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I don't see any of our runners going to be Aghanim now either in the light world, so
nope.
That's probably not going to happen either.
So unfortunately, without the Thieves small key, our runners will not be able to take a look at that big chest just yet. So they are going to be skipping one item in Thieves. But hey, that hammer, and that's funny, that hammer in particular, that chest, is the only chest that's not locked behind the small key. So the randomizer actually expected them to go all the way down there just to get the hammer, even without that Thieves small key.
Right, right.
Oh, and that was Silver's up at Bumper Cave. So if our runners want that, they're going to need to find Cape.
Ooh. Walther needs to be a little careful. He does have some potions, so he's going to get right back up to full health. Still needs to be careful, though.
I mean, a death here isn't too bad, since the walk, it's sort of like in the middle of the dungeon. Oh no. Oh no!
Yeah.
Walther taking a death.
And he is going to hold it off for later. Like you said, yeah, it's not terribly bad to take a death to blind. It's very easy to get back to him, but still, I imagine that at the speed Walther's been going in this seed, just getting progression one after the other, I bet he kind of felt like he had maybe a bit of a lead. You can't really be too sure in Randomizer, but I think that he's made a lot of great choices so far, so he probably thinks he could take that death and move on and get some other stuff before going back.
All right, so both Cross and Troupster are taking a look at the Village of Outcasts. Keep in mind, Troupster has picked up flippers from Skull Woods, but otherwise they're in roughly the same area.
Yeah, Troupster might have a few extra hearts. Or, well, just one. But yeah, one extra heart than Cross. That's really the main difference right now. And Flippers, obviously.
Now, looks like Walther's going to continue his Dark World overworld check, heading over to the Dig game, and we'll have to see if he decides to do the Frog World tour, since that's an option our runners can decide to do, which is they can go pick up the frog, which turns into the blacksmith, but without the mirror, you actually have to do a save and quit in order to bring him back. And we have the bow at the Dig game. That is huge. And with the Eastern Big Key, that actually makes a beatable dungeon. Currently outside of logic because they are missing the lantern, but if you know how to do the darker rooms, you could go sequence break and kill the Armos.
That's very, very true. That's very true. Okay, looks like Walther is considering to get the frog right here. Honestly, I do like this play because a lot of runners tend to skip it if they don't have the mirror, because the mirror does make it a lot faster. But there are times where this side quest will lead to the mirror. So
absolutely.
You know, may as well get it done while checking some other stuff as well. So I do like this play.
And we have the third bottle. Is that? No, that's the fourth bottle.
Yep, that's all 4 bottles. They've been found. 2 in CAC, 1 in Desert, and 1 there.
And a safety potion on top of it. That's nice.
Yeah, especially if he wants to maybe decide to try to go after Blind again once he's kind of done with the frog. That's something he could try.
All right, chat, get ready. Get your hypes in chat. Mini Moldorm was a disappointment. Is the hype in Hype Cave? Walther's making his way over there right now.
Has to be careful, though, that he doesn't take a death in the Dark World, though.
Yeah, no Tunic. The enemies do a ton of damage in Dark World.
Okay, let's see.
A small key to Ice Palace. That's not really that useful. Another small key to Skullwood's also not useful. Oh, what a disappointment.
I will personally defend the 1 small key from Ice Palace. It does make navigation a little faster, but yeah, that's not a great Hype Cave.
I mean, it's nice to have early before you go to Ice, but according to required items, I mean, by the logic, the Ice Palace small key is going to be needed, but it's pretty disappointing.
Okay, I didn't see the other one, but I did see that Desert Palace is a 5 and 6 crystal. Looks like Pod is the other one. So Palace of Darkness and Desert Palace are the 5 and 6 crystals.
So Pod and Desert. Well, we can see an early Desert eventually.
Yeah, still looking for that life source.
But we're missing a ton of keys for Pod currently.
Yeah. In fact, we don't have any keys for Pod right now.
That is a surprise, and especially with it being a required dungeon, it's really weird to have them not pick up any Pod keys yet. So Walther playing a little safe. He only has 1.5. Well, he has 1.5 hearts now. Pretty much 1 hit will kill him, but that heart is gonna help him.
Yeah, for sure. I think at this point, the record I've seen for going along without pod keys is about like 15 minutes. I've seen one go that long without a pod key, but yeah, normally you at least get 1 in your Light World access, I find.
Yeah, that's the sort of situation I would see with Pendant Pod, but Crystal Pod's so weird.
Yeah, very weird.
Where are those keys hidden? Alright, our top runners are making their way into the blind fight now. Let's see how this goes. But keeping a small eye on Walther while he turns in the blacksmith. So running into one of the heads of blind does 2 hearts of damage. The fireballs themselves do 1 heart.
Looks like Troupster made it through.
Oh, Cross just barely with 1 heart pulling it off. And we did get a heart container from the blacksmith, so nothing important here. Walther's going to take a look at the magic powder while he's here, and looks like Ridley's cleaning up the rest of the village of outcasts.
And we did get our pendant, our blue pendant from Thieves Town. So unfortunately, not a crystal dungeon, but the hammer was a good enough reason to go there, I think.
Absolutely. So we have 2 of the pendant dungeons. We could speculate what the last one is. But in terms of, well, we know nothing's at pedestal itself. So really, it's the knowledge of which crystals you're going to have to do.
Right.
Head is dead. It was a heart, piece of heart or something.
And sometimes I find that the last pendant dungeon might be the dungeon you don't get the access for immediately, because by that logic, the last pendant dungeon's items could be in Ganon's Tower, because you don't need that to get into Ganon's Tower. So if we don't get like all the keys for a certain dungeon, that could potentially be our last pendant.
Is this our first hammer peg check?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Piece of heart. And looks like Troupster's also going to take a look at the hammer pegs while he's here. Walther heading into Skullwoods and Ridley starting his trek through Thieves. Of course, he's already been at Skullwoods. So Troupster did pick up his bow. And looks like crossproduct's about to pick up his. And there goes Walther picking up his flippers and taking the back way, which is a nice way to save a little bit of time, because you could just fall into the pit. That is a quick dig. It's nice when the digging game only requires like less than 10 digs. Well, we're getting some frog roll tours. So once again, our runners are sort of coming together now that they went their slightly different routes. I mean, now that they have hammer, we're going to see a little bit more opening up. We'll have to see if anyone decides to go into pod, despite not having any keys yet. And of course, we'll have to see if anyone decides to be Armos while they're over there.
Yeah, and maybe. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that, yeah, pod could honestly be a play. They do have the bow, so they can get the first chest and 3 more by going kind of the back way around. So, you know, there could be something there. It could even be pod keys in pod. That's not too uncommon in these Keysanity seeds.
Honestly, I'm hoping for the Ice Palace play. They have mitts, they have flippers, and they have bombos. It feels like that's a great place to check. RidleyDragon taking a death in Thieves here. And looks like he's going to continue anyway. Which is good, because he's going to get hammer.
Yeah,
and Walther taking a death. I missed what happened there.
I think that was intentional to get out of that.
Oh, okay, yeah. He was taking a look at the back of the big key chests. In Skullwoods, you take a death to get out sooner and have a bit of a health refill.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing that Walther did not do when he was doing his Frog World Tour is he didn't actually make the play on Catfish. But it looks like he's going around this way, so he might approach Catfish from this angle.
Oh, he could be making a play over to... well, we'll see where he goes.
Oh, looks like Troupster is going to Catfish.
It looks like Walther might be doing hammer pegs since he didn't do this earlier while he was here. Yeah, so silvers are locked behind the cape currently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like Cross is also making the catfish play as well. Quite literally following right in Troupster's footsteps at this current time, with just the only difference being the flippers that Troupster has.
Oh, we're gonna get a purple chest check.
Just the map to Misery Mire, but we do find out that it is a crystal.
Honestly, being able to see a pendant on the map that isn't Skull Woods would be the best situation right now, because then you could just assume everything else is a crystal.
Yeah, for sure.
We have a piece of heart from the purple chest. So, places that our runners can check, according to the logic, we still have Zora, since none of our runners have gone there. We have Ice Palace. We have everything related to the Zora area, so the Waterfall Ferry and Hobo, which we have seen. And they can get the first chest in Pod.
Actually, 4 chests because of the bow. They have the bow, so they can get back area.
Yeah. I'm sorry. They can get 5 chests then, because you can fall and get the other one.
Well, I was... Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, 5. Because, yeah, I forgot about that other one.
That's a good point. I actually forgot they had the bow for a moment. I'm like, well, they have no keys, so they ain't getting anywhere. So we have 5 things in Pod. They have... Yeah, they have the Ice Palace big key, so they can pretty much get everything in there. But I'm not sure what the logic says about the, like, what's required, because they're missing the Cane of Samaria. So I'm not really sure in this case what the logic means. So I'm just going to say they can get everything in ice. That's like 8 items.
I want to say that because they don't have the hook shots or cane, that, yeah, I don't think Ice Palace is in the logic regardless. But
well, they have a small key, so they can do the right-hand side, but you do have a point, since they don't have hookshot or cape or blue cane, they technically can't go over the spikes.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
So I see Walther farming a couple of rupees here, just enough for Zora, so he's going to make his way over there now. Troops are taking a look at the Hobo, which Cross has already seen. So when Cross decides to do the Zora area, once he gets his flippers, that is, he doesn't have to visit the Hobo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like Walther's going to be checking that as well.
Yeah, so the way the logic determines what items are required, it never requires you to take damage, so you can always avoid damage.
Mm-hmm.
Troupster's gotten a bow.
Yeah, he has it equipped right now, so he definitely has it.
That's right. All right, so our runners, Troupster is taking a look at the Ice Rock Cave since he skipped it earlier. Walther's going to make his way towards the Waterfall Ferry soon. And as we mentioned, there's 4 things total in the Zora area. 2 at the Waterfall Ferry, 1 on the Zora Ledge, and Zora himself.
Looks like Ridley just picked up his bow.
So that's all 4 bows. We have a shield in the Waterfall Ferry area. Bombos is one of the medallions. You'll see it's the gold one in the middle, the swirly coin. That is an item that allows you to get into Ice Palace because it will kill the ice golems that are there. You need either that or Fire Rod to kill them.
And this seed has not given our runners a fire source yet, so we do not have that fire rod. And there was a small key on the Zora Ledge, so we'll see if Walther grabs that. I imagine he does. We still need Pod small keys after all.
We're missing Swamp small key at that.
Oh, and that's, yeah, that too, definitely.
Yep, there he goes. Nothing from Zora.
Yeah, just a map. Yep.
Oh, there it is. Although, in terms of the logic, since they have the bow, that single small key for pod doesn't unlock anything extra. However, our runners will be able to take that small key and head straight to the back for 3 more items. It's not technically in the logic just yet, but it's a nice thing to have and do. So, cross product, funny enough, he never got flippers because he's the only one who hasn't gone to Skullwoods. He's fake flippering, so he's actually going to miss out on that small key.
Yeah, that could cost him some time in the long run, because he will have to come back for that key, I imagine. Unless he just lucks out and finds like 5 other small keys before that one.
So right now, Cross and Troupster are fairly close. I would put Cross product a couple minutes behind Troupster because of Skullwoods check that Cross still needs to do, whereas Troupster has his flippers. And of course, now that small key. Walther has a decent enough lead currently over RidleyDragon, but it looks like he's making a play into escape, which I think Ridley did earlier.
I believe he did as well. Yeah, I think he did.
So our runners have all checked something different, which might be the difference in time that you see between them. So as they check things that their opponent has done, you'll see the time difference shrink.
Yeah, and like Troupster's going through Hyrule Castle right now too, and I believe Cross was the only one who did Hyrule Castle at the very beginning of the seed, so Troupster's essentially doing something Cross has already done.
All right, we're waiting to see the new area. I'm looking forward to see who's gonna make the either Eastern. It looks like Cross is gonna head and do Eastern, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it looks like right now. Yeah, I think he is gonna be the first to make a kind of a new play here. So I'm really excited to see what this is gonna bring.
I'm still calling Ice Palace. That is my prediction. Ice Palace will have the next progression.
Yeah, it's been putting Ice Palace in the logic, so yeah, that very well could be the play here. Even if it's not logically possible by the logic to finish it yet, but there could still be at least some progression early on, which could give us an advantage now.
So we're like 43 minutes in so far. We've only seen one sword. The seed gave them a very early fighter sword, and then has been very stingy, giving them other items to help them, kill enemies faster.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a good thing that all of our runners have decided to pick up their Ice Rod in Escape. We'll have to see. We don't know if Turtle Rock is currently required, because we're still missing a pendant dungeon.
And as you said earlier, once we get that pendant dungeon information, we'll know what the rest of the dungeons are going to be, so we don't have to really worry about any map pickups anymore. If we see one, we can kind of leave it behind. So they want to find out that last pendant as soon as possible, so they can start kind of narrowing down their go mode and what they'll need to finish the seed.
So Walther is also making his way into Eastern, just like Cross. He's going to go beat it first, rather than check Pod yet. Without Mirror, you sort of want to do the Light World first, maybe, if you can get it out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can understand that.
Nice kill of the Cyclops for Cross. So that's the hardest part about this dark room. There's a particular enemy you have to kill, and he drops the small key. Now, the trick that you saw Cross did was you can fire a bow. You can fire an arrow into the Cyclops, so you can sort of see where he is, and then you can move, and you can tell when he actually moves. Because when he moves, he's vulnerable. But I do want to point out that this move by our runners is technically a sequence break because they're missing Lantern. Now, we see Troupster making the play into Ice currently, and he's about to pick up an item. And we're getting some low percent bomb strats, I think, for the crocodiles here, or penguins, whatever people call them.
I've heard pengators. I've heard a lot of things for those penguins.
I think when I was a kid, I called them penguins. Only a piece of heart for Cross in
And
Eastern
just-
here, but it is a crystal.
That's true. And just 3 bombs in the first chest in Ice Palace, but we still have a couple other potential chests since we have the big key and we have some other items we can get along the way.
All right, Cross is on the move. I think he's going to go to pod. And here we're going to see a big difference between him and his opponent. If he goes to pod, Troupster's in ice, so we're going to actually see who's going to find the next bit of progression. Because honestly, this is all that's left to them.
Yep.
Currently. We're going to have to see a fire source soon, I think. Or maybe even flute to get up to Death Mountain.
Yeah, we're missing Fire Source, we're missing Death Mountain access. Those are the 2 big things that we kind of need right now. Even Mirror would be great just to kind of check some extra locations.
Yeah. I mean, I have a feeling we're probably going to see... If we don't get a fire source, I have a feeling we're going to see the flute maybe for the Mire area. Mm-hmm. Potentially even entrance into Mire for a lot of items.
That's true.
So Troupster's setting up his bomb jump. Now he's missing Kane, so if you want to beat this dungeon efficiently, you'll want to do that Ice Palace bomb jump just to save yourself some time. By the logic that bomb jump is not required, but again, a little faster. All right, Ridley making his way over to the hobo. He's going to clear out the Zora area while he's here.
And Walther picks up his first crystal.
This is typical Keysanity. You get about 50 minutes in, you finally get your first crystal.
If even that, 2 of my tourney races so far have not been first crystal till like the hour 15, hour 30 mark.
It always feels weird when it's that late.
Yeah, but that's just Keysanity. Sometimes it's 10 minutes in, sometimes it's an hour in.
All right, real quick, we just got Cross picked up a vanilla pod key.
Yep.
So he'll be able to check a few more chests in here. And a RidleyDragon for Troupster over in ice. Looks like both Walther and Ridley. Well, actually, Walther, I think, is also heading to ice right now. Ridley's clearing out the Zora area.
Yeah, Walther already has one of his pod keys, so yeah, he definitely visited Zora. So yep, he's going into ice as well.
All right, we're seeing 2 plays on Ice Palace so far. But nothing yet nice. Nothing yet. There's still a lot of chests for them to check. They have the big chest, the Ice Golem chest, Ice Tea Room, and of course on the boss himself.
Keeping my eye on Cross though, because he'll be getting some chests very, very soon.
So this is Randomizer. All of the items are actually randomized, their locations. So Lantern, oh, we have Quake, interesting. So for example, crossproduct just picked up the Quake medallion and an upgraded shield over in Pod, which is not, normally the case. So all of the locations of the items are completely randomized.
And with the way that this randomizer is developed, it's developed in a way where in every seed... Oh, mirror!
There it is. There it is.
Yep, ice plant paying off right now. But yeah, developers have made this randomizer so that every seed is completable. So normally you won't run into a situation where you just can't collect any more items. It won't get to a point where it's like you're completely unable to do anything else.
So the mirror only unlocks a couple of locations right now for our runners. There's a couple of things in the overworld they can check, but they can also get to the first chest in Swamp, and that's it. So it looks like Cross is setting up a bufferless bomb jump, and he pulls it off. Very nice. Hammering up. I didn't even know he was practicing that. So, yeah, nice job.
Yeah, very, very nice job. That's a really, really tough technique to do. I'm still trying to perfect that, just doing it with buffers, so...
Although he forgot to check the upper right-hand side, so once he's done here, he actually has to save and quit or take a death in order to leave. And he's not taking a look at those top right chests. He does pick up a shovel for his trouble. So, fetch quest. Troupster taking on Coldstare. Now, this is tricky. He's down to 2.5 hearts. Alright, he's going to use the safety potion. The only way you can really damage them right now is with the hammer. You'll see that Troupster's hanging near the top edge. If you stand up there, then the falling ice won't break. As long as you don't stand under the falling ice, you're okay, and you won't get hit by them. Of course, it's better to be hit by the falling ice than it is by the puffs, because they do a ton of damage.
Yeah, and with the green mail, that's not something you want to be hit by.
You can do spins, but hammer's actually going to be a little faster, just because it does tempered damage. So as I mentioned, Cross has to do a save and quit. Twice, for some reason. I guess he didn't go where he wanted to be.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Alright, Troupster, just a couple more hits. Got this. Oh, that was a close one. One more hit from the puff would have gotten him. We have a small key to pod.
Ooh. So that's going to be
pod small keys.
Yeah, and that's going to be 3 keys when he enters pod, because there's that one in that first room, so he'll be able to explore a little more than what Cross was able to.
Right, so 3 small keys is like the magic number to unlock a bunch of chests. Since, again, the logic requires you to use them in the worst possible way, but having 3 small keys is sort of like that magic number that opens up the back of the dungeon. So if there's something that Cross missed in the upper right-hand side of pod, yeah, he's going to be in trouble. Now, it looks like he's not going to sequence break into, according to him, sequence break into ice. He'll get his flipper soon, and then he'll be able to make his way into ice bouts. All right, Ridley getting his bomb jump done. He has 4 hearts. He's going to have to be careful going through this dungeon here. And Walther's almost done. Cross picking up his flippers. I am curious to see where Troupster's going to decide to go next. He's going to find out his information of where the Fat Fairy crystals are.
Looks like he is also heading over to pod as well.
I mean, especially with 2 small keys, definitely the place to go. And as we mentioned, they will be getting a vanilla small key while there.
Yeah, as of right now, the mirror that they got in Ice Palace, like you said, doesn't really open up a whole lot of locations, so yeah, I feel like there is got to be something else in pod that's still here. Something else that Cross did not get because he did the hammer jump a little early.
I mean, we know with all of these dungeons that Lantern's absolutely required. It's somewhere. And with Mirror, the Lantern actually unlocks Death Mountain, because you'll be able to mirror over to Hera, which, again, they can full clear because they have everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can go to the right-hand side from there, and they have mitts, so they can continue to Dark World Death Mountain while there, maybe even head into Turtle Rock if they get the cane. So yeah, the mirror is nice, but until they get that lantern or a flute to get up to Death Mountain, it doesn't unlock that much.
Yeah, I believe it's just the south of Grove and Graveyard ledge at this point.
And first chest and swamp.
Oh, that's true, yeah, that one.
Always a pain when that happens to be it. You're missing the swamp small key, but you still got to gamble on swamp.
Yep. Kind of have to treat it as an overworld location sometimes, though. That's the thing.
It's so time consuming. You know,
It
switching
is.
up the water, but yep. I mean, in the older version of this Keysanity logic, there was a good chance that would be the swamp small key anyway. So people would have to gamble on it. Crossproduct did get his blue tunic upgrade, and that will help when he finally does Ice Palace to take a little less damage from the enemies there. Walther has to be careful. He's down to 3 hearts, and I don't think he... Oh!
I don't think he did either.
No safeties. Oh, that is a time-consuming death for Walther. That hurts. I'm curious if Cross is going to go grab that small key. Nope, he's going to go right to ice first.
Yeah, Walther is going to be abandoning Ice Palace.
Ridley skipped the iced tea room. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, yeah, he does not have his mirror.
Now, Walther is, walking away. Cool off. You do not want to go on tilt, especially during a tournament race. So he's going to go put that mirror to use. It looks like he's going to sequence break up to Death Mountain. So there are a ton of items up there. But again, this is sequence break. You need a fire source to get through this cave. Ton of items up at Death Mountain right now.
Sometimes, though, the sequence break in Keysanity can be very valuable. Like, if Lamp is the next progression, Walther could be thinking, well, there's not a whole lot of locations I have right now. The Lamp's got to be in one of those, or could be in one of those. So this way, I can kind of take the next step, and if, like, the Lamp's in pod, for instance, I can get some more keys up here, or something like that, or to make pod navigation a little faster.
Right.
So he could be thinking that.
Ridley's got to play careful. He's down to 1 heart. Anything that he hits will kill him. So I will point out to chat, if you're doing this cold stare fight, especially with Hammer, stay along the top edge of the room. Just hug the wall and wait for the puffs to come to you. As long as you don't stand underneath the shadow of the falling ice, it will not break apart and it will not hit you. It's much safer than being like out in the open here and risking it all. Oh no, Ridley!
And he was down to 1 more too. That's a shame.
Cold stare just taking names.
Victim number 2.
That actually might be good for Ridley though. Hopefully he'll find his way to Ice Tea Room when he redoes the dungeon.
Looks like he is going somewhere else though, so he's not going to be getting that mirror for a bit.
Okay, we got a small key on top of Spectacle Rock. It is a Turtle Rock small key. And there's a small key to Meyer at the Ether Tablet. That's technically not required, so I don't imagine any of our runners will be picking that up. But it's good to know.
Yeah, it's good to know just for, like, logic reasons, because I think that some of the chests on the left side, like you said, the logic makes it seem like you use your keys in the worst possible way. But see, you don't really need any small keys for Misery Mire, so you can just kind of skip that small key and then just kind of know that, well, I can get all the small keys I need in Mire anyway if I just navigate properly.
So it looks like Ridley's picking up some safety potions while he's here. Maybe gonna tackle Cold Stare again, but this time have some potions as backup. I'm keeping an eye on Walther. He's exploring some new things for us up in Tower Hera. So we're gonna see 3 more items coming up here. He cannot currently do the basement of Hera without a fire source. So he's going to have to wait and put that off for now. And Troupster is going to open a couple new chests for us that Cross was unable to do, just based on his routing.
And Walther picks up an important item. He picks up the cape, which will also lead to those silver arrows we saw earlier.
That's right. It's nice to have when you already have the bow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in terms of progression, it really only unlocks Spike Cave for us. For like a new location, an item that we haven't seen yet.
That's true, but we will be getting a full magic restore when we beat this dungeon, so Spike Cave might be a place to check after checking all the other Death Mountain stuff.
So you see Troupster going back through this section of pod. He's already opened the chest here. The reason he's doing this is to save his small keys for the back of the dungeon. This allows him just to check the back, save a small key so you don't have to use it for the middle door. It's a little time consuming, but he'll be able to open everything.
Yeah, you kind of have to pick your poison. What's more time consuming, going through those 4 rooms or looking out in the overworld for another small key?
So right now he's going to walk across the ledge here to get one more item. Then he's going to make his way to the back. He'll be able to open the spike trap room on the right-hand side. That's another vanilla pod small key. And Cross missed that one.
Ooh, yeah, he did not get that one.
That actually would have helped him do the dark maze, and he could have just continued if he wanted. Alright, so Cross is about to get his mirror, though. So here's the thing. If Troupster gets some stuff on the right-hand side, those are items his opponent missed. Could make the difference in this race right now. So for those of you coming in, we have a race between crossproduct and Troupster on the top part of the screen. They are currently 3-0. So they're going for the chance to at least get into the tiebreaker match for the next round. Walther and RidleyDragon are also racing each other. They're currently sitting at 1-2.
Really quickly, Walther did beat Moldorm, gets another crystal, so we do know that Hera is also a crystal dungeon, but aside from that, looks like the cape was the only major thing in Tower of Hera.
So Swamp or Turtle Rock is our last pendant. From what we know. Yeah, I don't think Troupster got anything on the right-hand side there, so his play in pod might be okay. As long as he doesn't like backtrack to there later on, he actually might have saved some time skipping those chests. It's sort of lucked out for him.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But let's see how his cold stare match goes. We've seen a lot of death here. I'm keeping an eye on Walther too to see if he picks up anything interesting up at Death Mountain here.
Cross does have the advantage of having blue mail for this fight, which is something none of our other runners had, so definitely going to be a little bit of an easier fight for him, but still, cold stare still hurts.
Ooh, dodging those puffs. They do the most damage, so if you get a choice, get hit by falling ice instead of the puffs. That was a seamless fight from Cross. No troubles, 6 hearts left. Picking up his pod small key. But, man. So yeah, in terms of progression, it's really that mirror somewhere, like, one off. That south of the Grove or Graveyard Ledge location. We'll see what Walther finds here. A lot of rupees. A lot of rupees. And the Master Sword, finally. So funny enough, that Master Sword actually, well, and the cape, both of them, unlock the Aghanim's Tower. And I believe we did see an Aghanim's Tower key. So they can get both chests that are there.
Yeah, Troupster has one of the Castle Tower keys, so yeah, both items. Well, actually, just one item in the logic. We still don't have a light source. or lamp anyway. I gotta ask though, where is that lamp? That lamp is being really, really evasive right now.
Honestly, our runners doing the dark rooms, I think, are just helping them. Because when they do happen to route to a location that has a lantern, it's just sort of, oh, this is nice to have. I don't have to go clear the stuff again.
Right, right.
So Troupster, he might be deciding if he wants to do the pod. So he had the pod. Where did he get the pod big key from?
I
missed it. I don't know what's happening.
Walther has the hook shot, by the way. Got it.
There we go. Yeah. There's our progression. And there's the cane. Are we gonna see a play into Turtle Rock? And a tunic.
So both tunics have been found.
And Misery Meyer. Can't get the... Wait, what? When did he get flute? What have I been watching?
Okay,
what the heck is going on? Death Mountain for the win. And I will point out that since Walther got his flute up here at Death Mountain, Lantern was required absolutely to get up here.
Yeah. You know, after thinking about it, was South of Grove checked?
No. We haven't seen anyone do anything with Mirror outside of Death Mountain so far. So we have the Graveyard Ledge, we have South of the Grove, and we have the first chest and swamp. All of those are the locations for the Lantern, which comes up to Death Mountain to get the red cane, the flute, the hook shot. Although we did not see a play into Turtle Rock for Walther.
He doesn't have the Ether Medallion, so that is
Ether was... I missed the required medallion. All right. No Ether.
Oh yeah, Lamp could also be the first chest and swamp too, I suppose.
Yeah, so those are the three locations. I'm fairly certain it's gonna be Lantern because of all the other progression they got here. Maybe there's a small chance it was Fire Rod, which leads them to like Skull Woods, that eventually leads to Lantern. All right, Ridley taking on Cold Stare again. The rematch, 3 hearts though. But no problems.
He gets them. All right. Good job, Ridley.
I mean, I have to say, between our runners, this is actually a very close match.
Yeah.
Both Cross and Troupster are up at Death Mountain. Walther and Ridley very close to each other since Ridley finished Ice, whereas Walther has to backtrack to that. That's going to be time-consuming.
Yeah, and I don't know if he knows that Thieves Town is a pendant yet either. So Blind's probably on his mind too.
That's right.
So he might actually feel behind right now, despite the fact that he does have 2 crystals. So he's not doing too bad. It just has to backtrack for a few things.
It's that lack of knowledge that could be hurting him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm guessing the hookshot and flute were actually in the Super Bunny cave then.
Oh, Troupster's going to do the bomb jump to get over the pit here. And pulls it off. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Saves a bit of time.
Cross going in for his Moldorm fight, and this will actually give him his 3rd crystal, so Cross is also taking advantage of all of the stuff he's been found to clearing crystal dungeons.
Looks like Walther's using his sword beams, makes for a little easier fight. A little safer from the bottom here. You can't quite get the normal setup for Blind the second time through, since he starts up a little higher in the room. Alright, Troupster's making his way into Hera. Looks like RidleyDragon, though, taking a look at the graveyard ledge item. So let's see if this is our lantern. Cross pausing for a moment to think about what best way he wants to do this Death Mountain. If he wants to take the Turtle Rock portal or not. He's gambling that he's going to have them down here, but, you know, he'll find out that's not the case. I missed... Oh, no, I missed the graveyard ledge. It was Fire Rod. Holy crap. So, it's a fire source. It's not the lantern, but... It's the situation I mentioned where you could get Fire Rod and then you have to go to Skull Woods to maybe get your lantern. I mean, I'm actually curious if our runners are going to skip it. It looks like RidleyDragon is making his way over there. Maybe.
And see, this could be a big advantage for RidleyDragon too, because with all the progression that our other runners are getting, they might opt to not really focus on mirror locations for a bit, so... This could really, really work out for Ridley.
So Walther is just picked up his silvers. He's our first runner to get them. All right, Cross has his hook. He's about to get his cane. And then once he actually gets in the Paradox Cave, he'll also have his flute.
He also has his red mail now, too. Where was the first mail upgrade again?
Digging the shovel. You dig
shovel
it
spot. Okay, that's right.
So, as someone in chat pointed out, because our fire source, Fire Rod, it also unlocks the location. Aside from Skull Woods, it also unlocks Landmo, which we know is a crystal. I mean, I imagine with like Ridley, once he actually gets his flute, maybe he'll route it in at that point. There's Lantern south of the Grove.
Okay, so both fire sources were in the two mirror spots that were unlocked after you got the mirror and ice palace.
That's funny. That is funny. This trolley seed. And I remember like Cross putting it up for so long because he wanted the fire source before he went to desert in the first place.
Yeah.
All right, so our top runners are finishing up Death Mountain now. Looks like Walther's going to do his rematch against Cold Stare. A little safer now that he has some blue mail.
And the Fire Rod to kind of get some extra distance as well.
Oh, that's nice too, yeah. And even Master Sword just be able to hit him.
Right.
Should make for an easier fight.
Let's see what the Bombos tablet is. Just a compass.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yes, I believe so.
I thought that was... Okay. Alright, Ridley is making the play with his newly found fire sources to just go kill Landmo while he's here. Since he hasn't gone up to Death Mountain yet.
Now his opponent will have a bit of a faster time getting back in the desert since he does have the flute.
Right.
So that'll be able to get in the desert a little faster, but still, Ridley's taken the items he's been getting recently and just kind of running away with them. So I think this is going to be a good play for him.
Alright, so we got our fire sources. We got our ice rod. What? I think, yeah, the only thing we're missing is the ether medallion in terms of items. In terms of crystals, though, or sorry, keys, we still need a no. We found the Meyer Big Key.
At this point, it's a little hard to say, just because we don't know what the last crystal is just yet.
Right, it's either Turtle Rock or Swamp. GT Big Key, of course.
Yeah, that as well.
Our runners do have Cane, cross product. Troupster hasn't made his way yet, but cross product does have the red cane. It was up in Hookshot Cave. Troupster is on his way to go get it. about to get his hook shot, followed, of course, by the cane. Yeah, it's really just the Ether Medallion and a couple of keys, once we get that knowledge. Troupster did beat Eastern. Pretty sure. I think I remember him doing that before he went in the pod.
We'll see when he pauses if he has 2 crystals or 3.
There's the hook shot. So Cross is on his way to pick up his silvers, and we're about to see what Lammo has in store for us on RidleyDragon.
Okay, yeah, he has beat Eastern.
All right, Troupster getting his hook shot, got his red cane. Cross breaking up his silvers. Ridley locked in combat with Lammo. Of course, Fire Rod does make for an easy Lammo fight. And it's funny, Ridley still has a fighter sword because he hasn't gone up to Death Mountain. We have the single arrow, best item in the game from Lammo.
It's the ultimate arrow, the last hit on Ganon arrow, as I always call it.
That's right. With silvers, we'll actually see it, I think.
Okay, so Cross is gonna get his Fire Rod too, so he's gonna get that very shortly.
And Troupster's, I think, making his way over to Spike Cave. So that's something new. We'll see. Cross threw his bomb to the right. Like, whoops, gotta get out of here. Alright, Walther successful against his refight on Cold Stare, picking up his 3rd crystal. Mostly caught up here. Yeah, I don't think Ridley has done Eastern, so we are seeing a couple of differences here. Small key to pod in Spike Cave.
That's all of them, I believe, because Troupster has 5 right now. That just gave him the 6th one, so...
You know, with what's going on in cross-product side, there's a chance he might not ever get Lantern if he never, like, happens to route it in. He's, right now in Desert, he's probably going to go beat Lammo while he's over here. Maybe even dip into Meyer.
I didn't quite see the medallion. It kind of looked like Bombos, but we'll see what he does afterwards. It was a very, very quick check.
Honestly, I'm waiting to see a map to either Swamp or Turtle Rock, just so we can determine which one is the pendant.
Okay, I think it was Quake when I saw it on Walther's, so
Yeah,
that is accessible.
It looks like Cross is going to clear this section with the Checkerboard Cave, probably Lammo first, and then maybe dip in Meyer. Where was Meyer Bicky? I don't remember where it was.
I don't remember either. 2 of our runners have it, so... I don't remember.
I was in Hookshot Cave. That means Cross does have it. Death Mountain Room. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So that means Cross will be able to beat Meyer while he's here. Of course, he's going to be doing rooms in the dark. Let's see where Troupster decides to go. He's still looking for that Fire Rod, of course. And he's heading south.
He might come across the lamp, but he's going to need that Fire Rod.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to do the Southern route because he hasn't done the purple chest yet.
Although I suppose it's possible that Fire Rod may not be required, because if Turtle Rock's a pendant, Skull Woods is also a pendant, and Ice has already been completed.
It's really a question of if Fire Rod's also blocking some items. I mean, there are 2 with the Sahashala pendant being in Skull Woods. That's 3 items Skull Woods locks.
Yeah.
I mean, Meyer has more items to check, so we'll probably be seeing that sooner than later. But yeah, well, again, they're missing a bunch of items. They're missing a questionable number of keys for either Swamp. Well, Swamp's just this one small key. Or Turtle Rock, which they're missing technically 2 small keys and a big key. And Ether. So who knows? And we're still missing Ether if they want to go to Turtle Rock. So really, it's funny. We could have a situation right now where Swamp small key and GT big key is go mode. Or we need a ton of items for Turtle Rock and GT big key. Who knows? Right. No one has gotten a map for those dungeons. We have no idea. Our runners have no idea.
Walther is finally making the play on pods, so he's gonna potentially, honestly, he'll have enough to clear it at this point. He won't have the lamp for it to logically be done, but I'm sure he knows his dark rooms.
And with all the vanilla small keys in there, it's actually pretty funny. It looks like Troupster is going to pick up his fire rod since he decided to route this north. Basically checking all the mirror spots while he can.
So looking at crystal counts right now, Cross has 4, Walther has 3, Troupster has 3, and Ridley has 2.
This is a very close race between our runners.
It really is. Like even if there are like a difference in crystal counts between each set of opponents, I feel like just in terms of like the individual checks that they've made, definitely making this a lot closer than it could appear to someone who just joins and looks at the crystal counts. So yeah, I think it's still anybody's race at this point.
Cross cut up, but he still has to do a bunch of clearing in pod. I think the pod big key was inside a pod. And it's that sort of situation that you're actually going to put off quite a bit. Now, if Cross does happen to get a bunch of pod small keys, maybe he'll go there sooner than later because he did skip a lot of chests. So that's the big question of when is Cross going to make his way back to pod. Troupster is in Mire. He's going to basically follow in Cross's steps at this point. Beat Desert, probably dip into Mire. I mean, I don't see why not.
Yeah, it's right there, and yeah, that makes sense to me anyway.
All right, Ridley picking up his Hera crystal. So he's at 3. That basically... Okay, he's 1 crystal behind. Although it's Eastern, and you can just route that in with pod, hopefully. Especially with the mirror, I don't see why not.
That is a little interesting, though, because Cross did not get the big chest in pod, so if that was in the dark maze, he didn't realize it and didn't go back and check it.
Well, the dark maze, the big chest wouldn't have the big key.
But, I see a lot of people saying that it was in the dark maze. Nah, I don't know for sure then.
Dark maze? No, he opened both chests in the dark maze, though. I think it's in the right-hand side, in the U, because Cross skipped that whole section.
Yeah, but his tracker says that he has the big key, though. That's what's confusing me.
Oh, I didn't realize Cross had it. Yeah. Okay, got it. We are on track. Mire so far being a bit of a disappointment here. I'm actually wondering like where the next bit of progression is. They'll be able to beat Mire here. They could beat Skullwoods for 3 items, as I mentioned before. They could beat the rest of Pod, although we just haven't seen what's on Helmassar.
And Walther could be giving that information to us.
Right. When there's no text box that pops up, since you're doing the rooms in the dark, you might not realize what you picked up.
Yeah, yeah.
I imagine, I know if I get in that sort of situation, I will check my inventory like, okay, well, what do I still need? Oh, I have the big key for pod. When did that happen? Oh, Troupster fluting away instead of doing Meyer. Meyer, though, a bunch of nothing. It is a crystal.
Maybe he's not super confident in the dark. Oh, there's the big key for Turtle Rock.
All right, we're 2 items away from being able to at least clear Turtle Rock.
We still need that ether as well.
And I do want to point out that according to the logic, Fat Fairy is totally there, and Walther might be our first runner to actually check it, since he'll find out shortly that he'll be able to beat Pod.
Yeah, because he'll get that last small key that he can use.
Ridley picking up his cane. He's up at Hookshot Cave and getting his mail upgrade, which is very nice to have for safety.
Here's Cross doing what is, in my opinion, the worst dark room in the game. Well, I guess technically Hyrule Castle dark room, but like I never want to do that.
Right. I mean, it's tricky to figure out where that button is. Ideally, you can use the skull. Luckily, there's a setup to throw the block if it comes to that.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, and Troupster is going to get his lantern.
So, that's half of our runners with the lantern.
While the other half is currently working through a dark room at the moment.
Thankfully, Silvers will make quick work of Vitreous, so hopefully we won't see any deaths here. I don't want to commentate or curse it.
Yeah, yeah. You say that, and then just like a giant nuke just comes on Cross's screen when he just got reached the end of that dark room or something.
Risk it. Yep. Well, save and quit from Walther, so he didn't realize that he got the big key either. It's just so tricky. Like, oh, what the heck did I get?
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. Doing the dark rooms is actually hurting our runners in that instance. So Troupster is making his way back to Pod, and I know he knows he has the big key because he opened the big chest.
Yeah, he definitely did, and he has all the other small keys, so he knows this is definitely in the logic now. He's even picking this little door right here to make it a little bit shorter.
Alright, so Troupster will be our first to maybe take a look at Fat Fairy once he's done here.
Cross does finish up Misery Mire, so he has another crystal to his total. He just needs 2 more. The one at Palace of Darkness, and the other one we still are unsure of.
So he just took a look at his inventory. Hopefully he saw that he had the Pod big key. Otherwise he might make his way. Let's see where he goes. Swamp? Did he get a Swamp small key when I wasn't looking?
It's not on his inventory. There is that first chest in there.
Oh dear.
Could be checking south of Grove too, so might get his lamp
And
right after he finishes the dark room. Go ahead, sorry.
Walther just took a look at the Aghanim's Tower 2 chests. I missed what they were, unfortunately, but I don't think he got anything of worth because chat's not going crazy.
Yeah, Cross getting his lamp.
There it is.
Right after doing the Mire dark room.
Well, he did the hard part at least.
He wanted to show all the viewers that, you know, he's 3-0 for a reason. He definitely has skill. He knows these techniques.
Ped's dead, Fat Fairy Hammer's dead. All we have right now is where the heck? What even is our last crystal? We have no idea.
Nope,
We're
no
an
idea.
hour and a half in, and we still don't know what the last pendant dungeon is.
And we can't even access the either of those two unknown dungeons. We can get the first chest in the swamp, but that's about it. And it looks like Cross is checking that out.
The play for one chest. Could this be the swamp small key dream?
It very well could be. I would not be surprised to see that.
I mean, I think there's more items to get over at Skull Woods, despite it being a pendant dungeon. But hey, this could be it.
Let's see what this chest is for Walther. Just a bomb capacity upgrade.
So Troupster just made very quick work of King Helmassar, and he drops a compass.
Aww.
So Fat Fairy, though, has been opened up.
And the verdict is a map. Not even a map we need. We knew what that dungeon was early on from the bomb shop guy.
Wow. I'm telling you, it's Skull Woods, and Walther is making his way through it now. He's about to go fight Mothula for one item, and then, of course, the green pendant to turn it in to Sahasrahla.
So we're going to have a Mothula check from Walther, and we're going to have a Pyramid Fairy check from Troupster, so right now these are looking like the only two available plays for progression at the moment.
Alright, I think Cross is going to make his way into Skull Woods while he's over here. So yeah, which one is the right choice? Where is that last bit of progression? I feel like they might find Ether soon.
Yeah.
So it is a little tricky to do some spins against Mothula, thanks to that conveyor belt. Master Sword is not too bad, it takes about 8 hits. As long as you don't hit him into the spikes.
And Mothula is kind of trying to stay towards the top right there, which is not ideal.
And sometimes it's just a little safer to use the Fire Rod, just because you can line it up a little easier.
Okay, Pyramid Fairy check.
Here we go.
Swamp. Yep.
There it is. And we have a Ganon's Tower Big Key.
Okay, that could be go mode right there. That could
But
be.
we don't know.
Yet. We don't know, but that could be.
Wow, that is huge.
Oh, and Troupster still has to clear Myers still, so he's going to do that first.
It looks like Walther is going to make his way over to Sahasrahla, so we'll be able to see right away if that's even required, but it seems slim at this point.
If this is Ether, oh, that would be Troll.
Troupster still has a full clear here. Maybe Cross getting that green pendant is going to force him to go back and do pod while he's over there.
Oh, just a red rupee from Sahasrahla, so
All right,
no
so
Ether there.
Fat Fairy. And we're not even going to know what's at Swamp yet. It's going to be a little bit for that. Yeah, Fat Fairy absolutely holding the worth this run with the only small key to Swamp, plus the most important big key in the game.
Yep. The one big key you're gonna need in every single playthrough.
Oh, that's a good point, Cyclone. So Cross is missing the pod small key that was at Zora, since he fake flippered at the time. Plus, he never went to Spike Cave, and that's another, I believe that's another pod small key. So he's actually down in pod small key count. He's going to have to make some gambles.
That's true, yeah. He's going to have to find those before he can put that back in the logic.
I'm curious where Walther is heading. He's going to take the portal here, I think. The water portal, which is really nice to use. Being able to use these to get around faster when you're missing boots. For example, you want to stay in the dark world here.
I actually never even knew there were the portals in Dark World. I knew about the Light World ones all the time, but did not know about the Dark World ones.
Hiei with the sub. Thank you. So yeah, Cross is, we were just speaking of this, he is going to pick up that small key here. So this should totally guide him towards pod after this.
Yeah, and there's another small key there, so he'll definitely be good to go with pod keys at that point.
So Ridley is clearing it. Yeah, I'm fairly certain the key situation's really good. I think we've seen every single pod small key between all the runners. Troupster's about to tackle Vitreous, although with Silver's making very quick work. Here we go. One shot per eyeball.
He had to have full cleared Meyer really quick. He doesn't know for sure if he's in go mode yet. We do not know that we don't know that T-Rock or Swamp information yet. Thank you to Tower Slayer for the Twitch Prime sub as well.
Looks like Walther going to take a look at the Bombos tablet while he's here. Let's see, Troupster probably going to do the Fat Fairy now. Oh wait, not Fat Fairy. He already did the Fat Fairy. He's doing Swamp.
He's doing Swamp, but yeah. I'm almost wondering if this is going to be a case where he just like goes straight to the boss, just on the off chance this is the crystal, and then if it isn't, then he goes back in and starts looking for ether.
So I don't think Cross realizes he has the pod big key. I don't. Oh no. Troupster is making his way into Swamp. He's setting it up. We'll see what's in there. I mean, so that's actually a curious question what Troupster's going to decide to do here. Because he could just opt to beat it. Like, just figure out, is this a crystal? And if it's not, then you can backtrack through. Or maybe just, clear the things that are in the second half of the dungeon, and then you can just run through it again if it happens to be a pendant.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation. Yeah, definitely get the ones in the second half. Maybe the one, like the first two chests as well. That way, you're covered either way if you have to go back in, because you don't have to really redo any water puzzles at that point.
Oh, Troupster's going for it. He's just going for the clear. The gamble. I think it's a pretty good gamble, though. He's acting like he's in go mode currently. But, I mean, honestly, what we could see, though, is if this is a pendant, there's a lot of chests in Swamp. There's 10 things you can get. 9 without the Swamp big key. So we could have a situation where 2 Turtle Rock small keys are here. And ether. So basically, the game is just leading you to go to Turtle Rock instead of beating Swamp.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like Cross is heading into pod. Maybe he realized he got the big key. He's probably like, where the heck did I get that? So yeah, we're starting to come down towards the end for our top runners here. I would say Cross is about A little less, about a dungeon behind.
Yeah.
For our bottom race, though, that's a little closer. I mean, Ridley still has to do Eastern, but he'll be able to do that right after he's done here. I mean, for them, it's basically a question of who's going to go to Fat Fairy first to get the worth.
Yeah, and I don't think Walther's even gone into pod yet, because he doesn't have the shovel.
Right, good point. So Troupster is taking a look at the 2 chests here, just in case he doesn't want to have to backtrack this far into the dungeon. And it's a quick check.
Yeah.
And there's Ether! Oh no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry in advance if you guys are watching the VOD that I might have cursed.
Again, there's still, and like he only has 1 Turtle Rock small key, so you know he might be thinking, well, I still don't have those other 3 small keys yet. Like that could be just a coincidence that we found that there.
So yeah, Cross is picking up all of the items that he skipped earlier. And then it's like, oh, here's a pod small key. Vanilla pod small key. Alright, here's the moment of truth. Troupster is tackling Argus here. If he drops a crystal, we're good. We're in go mode.
Yes, chat, the moment of truth. Exactly.
Oh, he hit him with the spin instead of the silvers. Alright, here we go. What is it? Compass, no big deal. It's the crystal! That is all 7.
Yep, that is go mode right there.
So meanwhile, Ridley also about to kill King Helmassar, which will unlock the Fat Fairy for him. Walther is finishing up Meyer, but he still has a ways to go. He has to go back to Pod and finish that off. Well, go there in the first place, I should say.
Yeah.
And Cross getting all those chests. So this is a shame. When he was here the first time, because he did the bomb jump right away, he has to backtrack, basically do the whole dungeon twice.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Troop making his way to Ganon's Tower. He has the Ganon Tower big key. However, he only has the Master Sword, which is a bit of a pain. And we've seen a lot of chests. I mean, basically, there's items in Turtle Rock that we're not seeing.
Yeah, that's true. Like, all of Ganon's Tower and all of Turtle Rock will pretty much not be seen here, so... And I guess if they make the same play that Troupster did in Swamp, there's also a lot of the chests in Swamp we haven't seen either, so... those sword upgrades could be in any of those 3 places.
Yeah, Troop did get Ether, happened to be in Swamp, but of course, we don't need it.
Oh yeah, chat also pointed out this will also probably end up being a bootless seed as well, so we'll see a lot of zeros on that bot counter, I think.
I mean, this was a trolley seed, but we're looking at maybe sub 2 hours.
Yeah, from Troupster, that's definitely possible at this point.
Right. So we're seeing another our only runner to not pick up the lantern. Doing that worst room in Mire.
You have to imagine Ridley is going to be gaining some time on him because of that.
You can see Ridley is just cleaning up right now. He'll have to do Mire, but you know what? If he gets into the situation where he decides to do Fat Fairy first, he might realize he's in go mode and just be able to go mode Mire.
That's true. Looks like he is doing Mire first, though, so... I guess I can understand that.
There's more chests to check.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you can get a total of 8 things in Mire versus the 2 at Fat Fairy. It's just that the 2 at Fat Fairy is so critical. This is a very close race between the 2 runners on the bottom right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's basically the difference between a Mire full clear and a pod full clear at this point. And Walther still needs to make it through this dark room.
I'm curious if Troupster's going to open any chests upstairs looking for an upgraded sword. We'll have to see if he decides to do that. But he is about halfway through the gauntlet right now. Sniping these enemies with his bow. Oh, very nice. Nice shot. Oh, did Walther left? He's getting low on health.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
He probably figures, you know, the lamp's in the logic somewhere right now. I might as well just go look for it, I guess, while maybe doing something else I still have to do.
Alright, Troupster taking care of Land Mode 2. He just has 1 mini-boss in the tower left, and then, of course, Ganon 2. And looks like Cross is doing the Fat Fairy, so he'll be, I guess, satisfied to get his remaining keys.
Mm-hmm. And Walther is gonna get his lamp not long after he fumbled in that dark room, so he might head right back to Mire after getting this. After bombing it, of course.
The last place that he put off, that he possibly...
Yeah.
'Cause I think he did Swamp. He did the Swamp first chest as well.
I believe so, yeah.
This was the last location Lantern could have been.
Yep.
Cross setting up a bomb jump for some reason. Paul's buffering it. There's a GT big key and, of course, a Swamp small key for him. Walther's heading back with only 2.5 hearts, though. Gonna do the Mire. It's gonna be tricky.
There are some fairies and bunny beams
Right.
along the way, so you might check those out. But gotta make it through that Wizrobe room first. Ooh, half magic at the top of Ganon's tower, so Troupster gets a nice refill of that. Has a little more magic to work with if he needs it.
I don't know what Cross is doing right now.
Well, he doesn't know that he's in go mode right now. He might be looking for ether on the off chance that he needs it.
Maybe.
Or a map of some kind. So, like, he is definitely in go mode at this point. He just doesn't know it yet.
A fall for Troupster from Moldorm 2. He's not going quietly. So are we going to have a sword in our most important... Oh no, I don't want to say that. It's a stupid chest. No one cares about validation chests. There, I said it.
It's the Moldorm 2 chest.
That's right. That's all it is. So you do have to be careful doing spins here with the sword. There is a very small chance that you can despawn the tower. Just a quirk, a bug. I mean, the game is a little bit buggy. And there is a glitch that you can activate that despawns the tower by doing sword spins. It's like frame perfect.
Troupster is having a bit of trouble with Moldorm 2 here, being especially trolly tonight.
I mean, it's something you can do if you come here with just the fighter sword. You can opt to do hammer strats instead of spins, in case you have trouble setting them up. I mean, it works the same way as the Moldorm 1 fight. If you hold out your sword, typically, as long as you're bonking off him with your sword, you should be okay moving away from the ledge. But of course, if he hits you from the side, well, you're done. There he goes. Moldorm 2 is done.
So yeah, he's probably going to check this last chest, see what it is, hope for a sword upgrade. It's a small key to Turtle Rock.
Definitely telling us pedestal not required, Turtle Rock totally not required.
Yeah.
But I bet our swords are there. At least one.
Yeah, I imagine so. Another one's probably here in Ganon's tower, at the very bottom of the tower, so...
So there goes Walther killing off Vitreous. He came back immediately with the lantern. Ridley, of course, had to still pick up the items, which is why you see him there. But, you know, the problem is Walther has to go do pod so he can do Fat Fairy still.
That's right, and at this point, I'd say the lower race kind of will depend on whoever does the Pyramid Fairy check first. And at this point, it's looking like it might be Ridley. I think he's checked a lot of the overworld. So
right.
That's probably what he's thinking next.
Cross is go-moding the back of Swamp here, just like Troupster did earlier.
Troupster gets down Aga too. He just has Ganon remaining.
So we're going to have a Master Sword Ganon fight here on Troupster's end. Taking his potion now. He does have another safety potion, and something you could do since you have Cape could make it a little easier to tackle Ganon with the Master Sword depending on where he stands. Just to make it safer.
I think that is what he's kind of considering right now, so should be good to go in this fight. But yeah, for Master Sword, you can't just slice Ganon. You have to actually do sword spins. It's the only way he's going to take damage. So, is a bit slower than Tempered Sword, but at this point, you don't want to hunt for Tempered Sword at this point in the race, I imagine. Oh, that's a great setup right there.
Cross doing hammer strats, even though he could just do 2 slashes with the Master Sword. Menu percent. Looks like Walther going back. He's going to do the basement of Hera, I think. We haven't seen that actually.
That's right. A sword could be here for all we know. Ridley might be checking the same thing, actually. And again, it's almost 2 hours in this race. No one's finished yet. They might be thinking, well, maybe there's a trolley location out there. So, we'll be checking that.
Wait, and then he's gonna do spins? Cross, please. Oh, missing the torch glitch for Troupster, but that's okay. He has a potion, and it's silver, so he won't need that many. But you do have to spin, as we mentioned. You have to spin to activate his vulnerability.
Yeah, and those spins can really knock you off course without even intending for it to do that.
And that is it for Troupster. He is our first one done, just shy of the sub 2. We get 1:55.40 as the finish time. This was a trolley seed. There were some interesting things that you had to do in order to progress. I mean, Fat Fairy being required is not something you usually see.
That's very true, yep. That is not something you see a lot. And, you know, a lot of runners, they don't want to go into Ice Palace early, and then this particular seed, you really wanted to for that mirror, because it really kind of moved things along, I think.
Alright, so that makes Troupster 4-0. He's at least guaranteed for the tiebreaker match. Cross still has a chance. He's going 3-1. He's gonna have to win his next match, though, if he wants to continue in the tournament. So he's gonna be fighting for his tournament life in his next... I mean, both of our runners will there.
Yeah. Troup's just gonna be fighting for, like, basically an easier... To escape the tiebreaker race next week. That's what he's gonna be fighting for.
Welcome, Troupster. GG on that race.
That troll dorm.
That troll dorm, yep. He was not letting you go quietly.
My nerves got the best of me. Oh my gosh.
I'm sure you were a bit on tilt after that.
I couldn't play straight after that.
So, did you enjoy the seed, having our required Fat Fairy visit?
I felt behind the entire seed, but apparently, looking at the stream, I chose a lot of things well.
So it was actually interesting. Both of you were, I would say, were going back and forth with who was in the lead. Cross made a decision to go to pod early when you were in Ice Palace. And that might have been okay at the time because he ended up getting the pod big key, but he didn't realize it. And he also sort of routed accidentally. He did the bomb jump right away. So he never checked the back upper right-hand side or even the middle of pod. He just like went right to the back. This was before you guys got mirror. So it's like he was sort of stuck and he's like, well, I guess I'm done here. So he had to do pod twice essentially because he full cleared it the second time through. And that I think is what gave you the advantage from that point forward. But it was a close one. And there was a time when Cross didn't even look like he was going to pick up that lantern. Because that was to have both fire sources behind mirror is something.
Yeah, it was I was putting off going up Death Mountain because I didn't want to sequence break. It wasn't that I couldn't go up there. It's just it starts to get real confusing in Keysanity.
Sure.
Trying to follow the logic, and I knew the lamp was in 3 locations or held behind 3 locations. So then I got the fire rod, which opened up Skullwoods. So lamp was either in that last spot or up in Skullwoods.
Right. So real quick, RidleyDragon was our first runner on the bottom race to go to Fat Fairy, pick up his Swamp Small Key and the GT Big Key. So it looks like he's making his way right to Swamp now. So I would say currently he's slightly ahead. We'll have to see how long it takes Walther to, after he beats this dungeon, to go to Fat Fairy. So yeah, any thoughts for us? Comments about the race? We're trying to keep a track of everyone, but we might have missed a couple of things.
I kind of regret the Houlihan. It put me on tilt for about 10 minutes. Oh my
gosh! Did you check what the bush crabs were dropping, by chance?
After, yeah, I did.
Yeah, just having them drop the 20 rupees, like, well, don't need Houlihan.
Yeah, it felt that way, and if I didn't get lamp in that spot, I was just gonna start doing dark rooms. That's why I got all those blue potions.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a good thing you did. You were able to make use of it during Ganon.
Yeah, yeah. I was playing a little on edge. I mean, I think I took more damage in that last gauntlet than I've ever taken in the past 3 weeks, total combined. So that was something.
Well, hey, when you're in a race like this and you're fighting for essentially to get into the tiebreaker race, I imagine, especially at that point when not seeing any dot dones, your nerves are definitely getting to you, and you're just wondering like where your opponent is and how you're doing in comparison.
I thought I was behind when I got to the Fat Fairy, and then I had made a decision prior to that because I didn't know if Swamp or Turtle Rock was the crystal. I'm like, well, whichever item I get, Ether or the Swamp Small Key, I'm going with that one first. And it was the Swamp Key right next to Ganon. I'm like, okay, that's where we're going.
I'll be honest, we had no idea which one was required until you got the crystal. No one ever found a map to either dungeon. And of course, with Ether being in Swamp, there's no way anyone could do Turtle Rock beforehand. We had no idea.
When I saw the Ether, I was like, oh no, it's all falling apart. My gambles are all unwinding. Like, I couldn't believe it was a crystal. When that crystal fell, I was like, oh, that's the best crystal I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, nicely done. You're going 4-0. So you'll be at least guaranteed for the tiebreaker match. So that's pretty good.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. I can't believe it. I'm still a little bit nervous from all that.
I bet, but definitely keep it up. You played really, really well today and made some really good decisions. I know it may have not seemed to you that you were playing that great at times, but it's Randomizer. Anything can happen, especially in Keysanity, and you got to this race for a reason. You got the 4-0 for a reason. So give him hell next week.
I'll try, depending on who I get, but this wasn't my best race. I could have played even better. My execution was really bad. I practiced that mini Helmosaur room, or the mini turtle room, before Helmosaur. I practiced that for 30 minutes today, and I went in there and screwed that all up, so that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cross has dropped all of his bombs off the ledge.
Is that in my honor? He probably doesn't know.
Is that something that you've done before?
No, I mean, I just fell off about that many times.
Oh, no, he has no idea of that.
Funny.
Yeah, that Moldorm, though. Alright, so Cross is making his way into the Aghanim 2 fight. We see Ridley. RidleyDragon is opening up a few chests here, but it looks like he did the sort of let me clear everything I can and not do left-hand side type check.
Yeah. He just wants to, I'm sure, just be prepared in case he does have to go to Turtle Rock. In fact, right there again, the Ether, he's probably thinking, oh, well, that might be the play anyway, but thankfully he's going to get that last crystal when he beats Argus.
When did Cross finish Skullwoods?
He did Skullwood. So I think for a long time, so because he did pod early, and we'll have to ask him about this later on. When he did pod, he did it in the dark, so he didn't realize that he picked up the pod big key. And I think you had a similar trouble, didn't you? You picked up the pod big key, but for some reason I saw some anger slashes. What happened there?
I mean, it was like there was 2 vanilla keys in pod and the vanilla big key. I mean, it was crazy.
You didn't clear it at the time. You opted to just leave rather than clear it, and I think you had a small key. I thought you did.
Yeah, I had no fire rod or lamp, and I was.
Oh, you didn't want to do the dark room, right? Okay.
Yeah, I practiced that turret in the light all day.
So Cross Product did it earlier. He had the pod big key because it was in the dark room, and he had no idea he had it from what we could tell. So after he got fire rod, I believe he did Desert Mire first, and then he went to Skullwoods. I think I want to say he did Skullwoods after Desert Mire, because he thought he was missing the key. We could see he was taking a look at his inventory.
I almost missed it. It was my last check. I was looking at my inventory in the dark. You can't tell what it is, and as the screen was scrolling up, the yellow of the big key caught my eye.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
If you go watch the VOD, yeah, I pulled up and then I went, wait a minute, I don't have the big key. Wait a minute, yeah, I do. So then that's when I walked back down in the dark. Got a little lost in the maze, but that key was really tricky. I feel mean
It's
about
just
that.
funny with how late the fire sources were, and really just putting it behind Ice Palace and getting the mirror.
Yeah, man. Cold Stare is scary. Like, it's going great, all of a sudden you have no hearts.
So real quick, RidleyDragon making his way up to Ganon's tower, but it looks like Walther actually forgot to do Fat Fairy because he was just taking a look at the pause screen, probably thinking what he missed. He might not realize that Fat Fairy is now a thing.
Yeah, that's probably what's going through his mind right now.
It's a location that you tend to forget sometimes, just because of the unlock requirements.
And the funny thing is, like, he's just a parallel dimension away from that location right now. He's at
Right.
Castle.
All right, now so Cross is just showing off. He's like, I'm gonna do Master Sword Silverless because I can.
Hey, Cross is having fun. Can't blame him for that.
I
So
don't even
yeah,
think I can try that.
GG Troupster. I do want to say to all of our viewers to make sure you give him a follow when this race is done here. He's going 4-0. I mean, he is 4-0. Not that you're going it, but you've achieved it.
Feels good, man.
Go shake off those nerves from Moldorm too.
Yeah, and then just compounding because in my head I saw Cross running up the gauntlet, like dancing with like Butter Sword and prancing and talking to more vendors and throwing signs at people for fun, whatever else he does. He's a funny guy, man.
He's guaranteed to get into the tiebreaker being 4-0. We do have only 8 people from this Swiss stage will be moving on to the next phase of the tournament, but we're going to have more people with at least 4 wins. So we have to have a tiebreaker for those that have 4 wins, 1 loss. And that's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, there's going to be around 30 people in that race. I believe it was figured out earlier today. So that's a lot of really tough competition for just really, really relatively few slots.
There's a lot of really great talent in this race, or in the tournament, and this race too.
Yeah, for sure.
Every round I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lose this one. And I win somehow, and the next one I go, okay, this is it. So next week for sure it's a loss. But that's okay.
Well, that attitude apparently worked for you.
He
Oh, what is this? Oh,
he uses the last arrow.
no.
The last hit.
Denied. Fall off that ledge right now. You did not earn that kill. You either do Silverless or you don't.
Oh gosh, Cross.
We have to shame him for that.
That's right.
No,
All right, so
I
that is our second place. Well, so again, the bottom 2 runners are racing against each other currently. Right now, RidleyDragon, of course, is about halfway through Ganon's tower, so he looks like he has a decent lead currently. Crossproduct did finish with a final time of 2 hours and 8 minutes, 18 seconds, so he was about 13 minutes behind you at the end. So 13 is sizable. Definitely the double dip of pod on his end. Just the routing that did was a significant time loss. And he was doing Silverless strats on Ganon, which adds a couple minutes. So it was fairly close. It came down to routing differences.
Before he gets in for his interview, I just want to do a quick shout out to him. Crossproduct, if you guys don't know, makes one of the best trackers. I think it's the best, but I mean, there's dozens of them. I use it every day. It works. It's super simple. So check that out. He's also a really cool guy and a good streamer. And then I just want to say thanks to all you guys for casting and doing the restream and also the tracking. It's a lot of work, but I go back and watch these after, and it's the most fun I've had in years. So thank you.
No problem at all. Thanks for racing for us. Put out a really enjoyable show for sure.
And people do a lot of work to make this happen. It's been a lot of fun. So yeah, Walther he's missing that one thing, and you can see. I just want to point out real quick. If you look at his inventory where the crystals are, they have color coded the Fat Fairy crystals. Those are the 2 red ones that you see over there. So that's how you know, hey, these are the Fat Fairy crystals. That means I can now buy the big bomb when you have both of those red crystals. So it's a nice little touch that they've made in the game, in addition to all the, like, the map work and things like that. And I know it's a lot of work to change the game like that. So our devs work hard to make this amazing.
They really, really do. I continue to be impressed by all the devs for this randomizer. Okay, it looks like Cross is in the waiting room.
Hey, Cross. GG.
Hello. Hey,
So,
thanks.
you're fired. You did not stick to silverless strats. I'm very disappointed in you.
He's only had one more hit. It's fine.
All right. First question for you. When did you realize you had the pod big key?
Oh, right away.
I assume that's because it seemed like you were putting everything off. You were putting pod off, going back. Like you ended up doing Skull Woods, and I thought it was because you didn't realize you had the pod big key.
No, I was looking for more small keys. I didn't want to go back until I could full clear it.
The problem is, like, what, there were 2 vanilla small keys, which you ended up missing just based on your routing the first time through, in addition to the big key in that dungeon. So, that is probably what hurt you.
Was in there?
Yeah,
oh, wait, was it in the dark room?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's why I thought you didn't realize you had it.
I thought I got Quake out of there. Oh, no. That sucks.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. It was dark.
So it's actually interesting. Both you and Troupster were sort of going back and forth. Like, based on your routing, when you went the pod early, Troupster was doing ice, which ultimately led to the mirror. But with you doing pod and, of course, getting the big key, there was a chance that maybe you'd be okay later on, depending on how you backtrack to it. And for a while, you were actually slightly ahead and picking up new things for us. But then just, having to go through pod all over again.
Yeah, I locked myself out. I didn't have mirror. I put myself in a situation where I had to save and quit to get out of pod. And then I was just like, well, whatever. I'll just go back later when I can full clear it. And, I mean, I don't think it was a mistake to full clear it because I'm still looking for that swamp key and the Ganon's tower key.
Yep, both in the same spot.
Which were both behind pod, unfortunately, but
yeah. Alright, Walther. Sorry, just real quick. Walther did realize the Fat Fairy. He picked it up, he just got his keys, and of course now he has to quickly make his way over to Swamp. He of course has no idea where his opponent is right now. And he saw those .duns. You guys both finished, so he's like, where the heck is my opponent?
Yeah, the pressure's on. Did you gamble on Swamp as well?
Oh yeah, I was routing in Bamo's tablet and the cave south of the grove, and I was like, whatever. It's gonna take 3 hours, but there's a chest in here I can get.
Oh yeah, you were one of the first ones to take a look at that single chest before you had the swamp small key.
Yeah, I was hoping for a Stoops Alu seed.
Oh, you gambled on that chest? That's crazy.
Oh, you mean did I gamble on Swamp being the last crystal?
Crystal, yeah, correct.
Oh yeah, I did that too. I checked the 3 chests on the upstairs on my way to Argus. One of which actually had ether.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, well, if there's no crystal in here, I can finish Turtle Rock now.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I still needed a small key for Turtle Rock, so it would have been bad.
It also took you a long time to actually go to Desert in the first place, where both of the gloves were.
Yeah, it's fine.
We figured you were looking for a
lose
fire
any time to
source.
that. Yeah, that's exactly. I thought if I could get a fire source before heading to Desert first, that'd be fine. I don't think that was a mistake. It's just
No.
that's what
Nah.
it because Moon Pearl was in Eastern Palace. It evened out at the end.
Yeah, because everyone had to go to both Desert and Eastern. It was just that you got the Eastern big key over at Desert, so people were able to check that. But honestly, in the end, I don't think it really affected anything.
Right.
It was just a hard container, so no, it didn't.
But yeah, you guys going back and forth, no idea. We couldn't figure out who was ahead, and just ended up being a couple of routing differences at the end that made the difference. And I guess Silverless Ganon, that made a difference too.
I mean, whatever. If I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I know.
I was having fun since Troupster finished. Or
What
Troupster, sorry.
Everybody got silvers. I think none of us wanted to do Silverless Ganon.
Yeah.
I almost
he
did
was sorta on
Silverless
the way.
Ganon.
Yeah, you almost did.
It almost doesn't count. That's like may as
A
well.
23 hits is pretty good. Oh, I only picked up 5 extra items. Spoiler. But I only picked up a few extra items over Troupster, which makes me feel good because it makes me feel like he deserved to win by having superior execution. So that's good. Good on him.
I mean, nice job to both of you. And I want to say to chat, make sure you give both of our guys a follow. If you want that tracker that Cross has made, go to his channel. As Troupster so
Yeah, hopefully
nicely
the
pointed out earlier.
Keysanity version with full dungeon maps and logic for each individual chest should be coming out pretty soon.
Real quick, Ridley has to... Oh, no! Oh, he got hit. Oh, he has a fairy. I didn't see him get that. I didn't even know he had net. Did you guys pick up the net?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
It was
pretty
in
early.
it's in Meyer Shed or something like that.
It's hard to know since Net's no longer on the speed gaming trackers. So
So Ridley does have to play it a little safe. I haven't been counting how many hits he needs. In the second phase of Ganon here, you need 12 spins. Oh, he has an extra fairy. Honestly, with half magic, though, he could consider just popping on the cape and playing it safe that way.
Ooh, where was half magic?
Half magic was up in
Yeah.
Ganon's tower.
yeah,
Mini
Helmet-
Moldworm.
Yeah, mini helmet room, I believe.
Okay, don't waste all your magic, Ridley. There you go.
If I were still in the race, I probably would have checked those 4 chests upstairs, but I didn't want to risk getting a sword and not being able to do Master Sword Ganon.
Right. Can't risk that.
What a tragedy that would have been.
Silverless. You call that silverless, please. Yeah, we
To
have
be
no
fair,
idea where any swords are. They're probably in like Turtle Rock or somewhere in the basement of GT.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saved a lot of time go-moding Mire and Swamp.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did
Uh-huh.
go to fire.
That probably lost the bulk of my time then because I picked
Well, you
a
checked
full
it
clear of
earlier.
Meyer. Yeah.
He double dipped Swamp.
That's true.
Yeah, double tipped swamp.
That's a play I would make.
Okay, Ridley made it through.
Not too much far behind our first and second place here.
GG.
Alrighty, I'm going to hop on out of here. Thanks for the interview, guys. Thanks for commentating. Thanks everyone for watching. Follow Troupster. He's obviously better at this game than I am, so give him a follow.
All right, GG Cross.
Yeah, GG Troupster, you earned it. It's
GG,
good
man.
playing against you.
Yeah, you too. I'm going to jump out as well. Thanks again, everyone.
All
Follow
right,
Cross
problem.
Product.
Congrats.
He's amazing.
Good luck to both of you in your next round.
Thank you.
All right, so Ridley finishes with the time of 2 hours, 18 minutes, 59 seconds. Just that 1 second shy of the sub 219. So he
Very
is our
nice.
winner of the bottom race, and he'll be joining us for an interview.
Yeah, and Walther's got to be thinking right now that, yeah, the time that basically set him apart from him was just the time he spent wondering where the heck the big key to Ganon's Tower and small key to Swamp were. That he spent a lot of time looking for those.
I mean, at the time he was slightly behind, maybe just because of what happened with the bosses, unfortunately.
Yeah, true.
But even still, he's coming up the GT right now. It's going to be finished within the next, 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
No swords, though. Man, the C gives you an early fighter sword, and then you have to wait, an hour for Master Sword. GG, RidleyDragon.
Thank you. I won the Mega Bowl.
Yeah.
The Flip Michigan Mega Bowl.
So that was actually a close one between you and Walther for a bit. Unfortunately, Walther had some trouble with the bosses. He died to cold stare.
So did I.
Died to blind, I believe. Yeah.
I did that too.
Wait,
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you died.
I didn't die to blind. I died to the Mantis room.
Oh, okay.
I died to cold stare with I think one hammer hit left.
Yeah, and then
in the most demoralizing defeat I've ever had there.
Yeah, that is not a good situation when you die in ice. Just having to track through it all over again. But I think at the time, the first time through, you actually missed the iced tea room.
No, I was purposely skipping the iced tea room as a gamble. And then they had to go back to the dungeon anyway. I just said, oh, might as well go get it.
Right, exactly, and that's where Mirror was. So it's a good thing that actually sort of happened to you. Otherwise, who knows how long it would have taken you to go back to ice just to check the iced tea room?
It would have been the very last room I checked.
Right.
And then they started getting towards the end, and they decided, screw it, I'm gonna gamble. I'm in go mode now. And that worked out.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, what a seed! 2 gloves in desert.
I felt good about that too. I checked desert almost right away, and I'm like, oh, I got the 2 gloves.
Yep. And unfortunately, very stingy with the swords, though.
No, I don't know. Did anyone get a tempered sword?
No. We have no idea where those are. And for the longest time,
probably in Turtle Rock.
We had no idea whether Swamp or Turtle Rock was required. No one ever got a map for those locations, so we just had no idea which one was required.
Until Troop walked through it.
Right. He was actually our first one to beat Swamp. But yeah, for the longest time, we're like, which one? Speculating which one.
Yeah, no, I took a lot of big bets at the end, and it was quasi bets because this is a 4-way race, and I saw the way Troop finished and went, well, this isn't Turtle Rock, he's not done yet.
Right.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you can use that information like that.
Yeah. The only downside to doing a 4-way race is that sometimes the other race gets information, but we both got the same information, Walter and I, so it's not like...
That's true.
Both of our fire sources were locked behind Mirror, which is also pretty funny.
Yeah.
The sea really did want you to go to do an early ice palace just to get that mirror.
Very much did, and I really was walking through there like, just get me a sword,
right?
A cape, anything, please. And just
the second sword was Death Mountain, I think.
The second sword was in the Paradox Cave.
Yeah. Man, and by then you had to get Mirror to get up there. That is crazy. Yep. Absolutely had to do Fighter Sword Ice. What a pain.
And that was doing Hammer Cold Stare, and that's not what you want to do. I think I died once and I literally walked out of there and said, I'm just going to load up on red potions and cheese this thing.
It is actually interesting, because you'd have to go back in for Mirror. I think you were the first runner to discover both the lamp and fire rod, because everyone else went straight to Death Mountain at that point to do the sequence break up there. But you decided to check those locations and found both fire sources immediately.
There's an honest truth to this.
Oh.
I am bad at that dark room.
Oh,
I have not really practiced the cave dark room because it doesn't come up the most frequently in the world where you would have to do that to sequence break.
Well, that was okay then, since it sort of paid off.
Well, I also figured I had 2 places left to look, and the lamp's going to be one of these 2 places. Otherwise, I screwed up my tracking, in which case I'm just done here. So it was one of those things where it didn't. I don't think it made that much sense to even sequence breaks, because you don't want to do mire or darkness without a lamp. That stinks.
Funny you said that, because I think the top two, or Cross anyway, did do that room in the dark, and Walther attempted it, but then left and got the lamp right after.
I hate doing those dark. I will only do those dark if it's something insane, like the things in the middle of Turtle Rock, and you have to go back and get, and it would cost you a full hour to do this.
Yeah, I don't like that dark room either, so I don't blame you for going for that, because that Mire dark room is just pain.
So there goes Walther picking up his validation chest, killing off Moldorm, dropping some bombs on the way.
You open every chest there because you're hoping for the red sword to show up.
Yeah.
I even ducked into the right side just to open those 2 chests real quick.
Oh, yeah, I
mean, it's worth a shot for a real quick check.
For sure.
If you get tempered, then it's gonna save you a ton of time.
A lot of time. It'll save me a lot of time again. Again, I kind of got the skin of my teeth too. Like that was.
Yes. It's a good thing you had a couple of safety fairies there.
No, yeah, I grabbed those while I was waiting for a bomb to blow up in pod. So. And I kind of realized how many I had, and I started like playing I'm gonna have to get Torque Glitch. I'm gonna have to hit this.
Yeah.
Cake, and I got it. It worked out.
It was a nice use of magic there at the end.
And I almost flung myself into the pit, which would have been real frustrating.
Right. All right. So, any other thoughts for us about this particular seed?
Particularly fast seed. It was a low percent one for a while, but it wasn't like it was a look into a dungeon. Like boy, was I feeling real good about myself in the middle of pod.
I mean, it gave you plenty of health. It gave you 4 bottles, bug net. You had red tunic, so at least in terms of safety, you had that. It's just nothing for damage.
No, boy, and pod. I really walked through like. I don't know about this. I got 3 keys and no big key, and then it was.
Oh yeah, because I mean,
was there.
For everyone, it sort of had that situation. Walther also put it off for quite a while until he had as many small keys as possible before he went there. It's just you're gonna have to eventually gamble it, and with the big key and 2 small keys there, like I mean, what are you gonna do?
I figured the worst case scenario was I pick up a bunch of chests and then you go finish Eastern Palace and then go elsewhere.
Right.
At that point, because I had the setup for everything else.
Yeah, you have to think that, I mean, Pod does have 14 items in Keysanity, so it's like, there's bound to be something good there, even if it's just like a single small key of progression. It's just always good to kind of get that out of the way.
The moment the Ether Medallion showed up in the middle of Swamp Palace, I got very nervous.
Yeah.
I went, oh no, please. And I'm not on my usual setup, so I have no camera, but the restreamer would have seen me do the biggest fist pump as I heard the crystal noise go.
That's funny because we were just talking to Troupster and he basically said the same thing.
Because boy, it would have been a not great time to do Trinex with a blue sword.
That's right. I mean, maybe by then Turtle Rock had some.
Maybe the Laser Bridge had some swords and stuff. I would have definitely checked everything there at that point. It doesn't hurt enough.
Could have even been something in the left side of Swamp. I don't think anyone checked that.
No, I thought about it, and I thought like, boy, if there's a small key for Turtle Rock there, I'm gonna feel like a big butt. But nope. I guarantee you that the swords are there's at least 1 sword in Turtle Rock and probably 1 sword in the basement of Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, that's what
we're gonna guess.
Too.
All right, Walther here is on the 3rd phase of Ganon. 1 more hit will put him into the 4th. He has a sliver of magic. I think I saw a blue potion still in his inventory, though.
Probably never drank his blue potion, yeah.
Okay, yeah, he does. But he has to be careful because Ganon's going to be right next to him. Oh, just barely missing. Fire
Very
bat.
nice dodge.
Yeah, no, you notice me saving and quitting extra times too because I was starting to get warnings from my XSplit. Hey, your CPU usage is high. Your performance might be affected.
Oh, really?
And I've called 2 different races with crashes. So all I'm thinking of this is gonna crash on me, and then I'm going to have to restart. So let me get a save and quit here. Yeah, this is not my usual setup. I'm not actually dog sitting for my parents right now.
Here we
All
go.
right, there's the last hit for Walther. Finishing up our final runner here. But everyone finished within a half hour. Not too bad.
Oh.
Spoiler alert, GG Walther coming in before you walk through the door here.
We were almost exactly 10 minutes apart from each other. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like 155 to 208 to 218 to 230.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. Also, you are on mute, Walther. By the way.
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Hey.
can.
Yep.
Hey!
Yeah, so yeah, that was kind of a catastrophe of a game.
So it looked like for a while, I guess you forgot the Fat Fairy.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
forgot.
sort of what happened at the end there.
Yeah, I forgot the Fat Fairy, I forgot the lamp, and I don't really know how to do the mire in the dark, so...
Oh, that's a dark one. That's a pain to do. But hey, you gave it a try, and you know it was a close one. Both of you guys were sort of going back and forth based on the things that you were finding. Like for a while there, Walther, you were actually ahead in terms of items, but because of what happened with the bosses, it was like the sort of setback, I guess, to balance it out. But
yeah, I've been training a lot with swordless mode to be able to do the hammer on the bosses, but it didn't really show this game.
Cold Stare is evil to do with a hammer. The hitboxes don't make a ton of sense. Like
I mean, that's hammer in general, right
No,
there.
I know.
Yeah.
Cold Stare is extra bad because you'll hit the sprite and it won't count. And then when you miss hitting Cold Stare with the hammer, you take 4 hearts of damage for green now.
Yeah.
So it's
You guys
really
didn't have
brutal.
any tunic by then. I think Cross was the only one who had a tunic for Cold Stare, just
I think
based
you
on
have-
how he routed.
I'm trying to think of how you would route to get that blue tunic.
Didn't he? I
first.
thought he did. Am I wrong?
He did. He definitely did.
Where was the blue tunic? I forgot now.
Well, I mean, I know one was up at Hookshot, and I know he didn't go there yet
No,
because
no,
of
you
where Mir
couldn't
was.
Yeah.
One was in dig spot.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
because he did pot early. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, and you get the hammer early. Oh, not the hammer, the shovel early.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
how he got it.
Okay.
But yeah, you guys sort of going back and forth. By the time you actually were cleaning things up, Walther, Ridley did happen to pull ahead. I think he made some gambles at the end. Just ended up routing ahead because he was the first of you both to go to Fat Fairy. And just at the time, you still had to do pod when he was doing Fat Fairy. So by that point, there was a slight difference. But honestly, 10 minutes is not that bad at all of a difference.
Yeah.
Time found
this
Pegasus
was-
boots. Never. Anyone find the boots?
No boots.
That's gonna be in the tower too.
Yeah, no boots, no tempered. I mean, it was one of those weird seeds. I wouldn't say this is a friendly for new runners type seed. Ideally, you want to give newer people, you want to give them boots, you want to give them tempered, make the game a little easier. But having like Fighter Sword, Ice Palace is not the thing you give to newer runners. So this seed made you guys work for it at least.
156 216 was my item rate. That's not
Yeah.
bad.
It was definitely a different seed, but thank you for commentating it, and thank you to the trackers and the restreamer.
Yeah, thank you both for racing. I do want to give chat for people that are still here. Make sure you give all of our runners a follow. They did a great job with this seed, so definitely do that. Thank you to both of our trackers. They put in a lot of work to keep everything straight, finding things that we missed. So thank you guys, and of course thank you to all the people behind the scenes that put this together. So we have this awesome tournament.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, today alone, 21 races today, and unfortunately we couldn't get all of them restreamed, but we definitely had to do a lot of work just to get all this to happen the way it did. So the amazing team we have behind the scenes is just incredible that we are able to accomplish all of this. So definitely a major shout out to everyone involved in this whole process for sure.
So any final thoughts from you guys as we start wrapping things up here?
Not really. I'm just gonna make sure not to forget anything the next race, I guess.
I mean, it's always gonna happen. You're gonna forget something, but hey, that's also the best way to learn because you're like, I'm never gonna forget that spot again.
Go USA hockey. That's my final thought. They're playing right now.
All right, I think that's it for us. So thank you all for watching. We got some more tournament matches going on tomorrow. So yeah, stay tuned to all of the Speed Gaming channels.
Yeah, for sure. Tomorrow especially, we have a race at 10 a.m. Between Demon RHK and Hex Mage on Speed Gaming 2. And we also have a match at 11 a.m. Someone 325 versus Mentos Man 8 on just the vanilla Speed Gaming, this channel.
His name is actually Someone 325. Like someone is running.
Yeah, someone is running for sure. But yeah, those are at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. respectively, all Eastern time. So if you want to come back tomorrow morning for some more Randomizer, definitely come by. It will be a lot of fun. So yeah, thank you to everyone for all the wonderful subs that we got tonight, all the viewers who watched, definitely our two trackers, Dragon Master 0283 and Cyclone GU. And of course, major thanks to my co-com partner for this particular race, Jet 082. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun commentating with you as always. And I'll let you have the final word.
All right. Well, yeah. Okay. Have a good night, all.
Later.
Have a good one.